From Recorded Future News and PRX, this is Click Here's Mic Drop, a longer listen to one of our favorite interviews of the week. I'm Dina Temple-Raston. And today, two Vanderbilt University researchers who got a tip in April that sent them down a rabbit hole they never imagined.
My phone dings, and I look, and it's from a researcher who I know and respect, and he's like, you need to check this out.
Brett Goldstein is a special advisor for the Institute of National Security at Vanderbilt University, and his first instinct when he got that message was to ignore it.
And so I'm like, So I then forget about it.
In Brett's defense, he was at a conference in Australia at the time, and his hands were full. But when he finally got back to the hotel, he scrolled through his messages again. The same note, "You need to check this out," it reads.
And I look at it, and it's a link. And I hate links.
So he scanned it for malware and ran some extra checks just to make sure it was clean. And then finally, he clicked.
I go in, and hello, there's a whole bunch of PDFs on a public URL. And it's intriguing.
What was intriguing?
Well, it's all in Mandarin. And I start scrolling through pages. And what I'm seeing is Mandarin. I'm seeing technical schematics. And then I'm seeing pictures of prominent Americans.
And that's when Brett realized this wasn't spam. This was a leak. And this was something big.
When you look at the docs, you realize that they have been working on this for years.
Stay with us. Support for Click Here comes from Clean My Mac. If you're like me, your cloud drives are packed with files you don't actually need. Sync duplicates, old backups, random junk just gobbling up storage. Clean My Mac takes care of that with a new cloud cleanup feature. It connects to your accounts on iCloud, OneDrive, and Google Drive and scans to find large space wasters, both in cloud storage and on your device. And while my Mac health is apparently excellent, Clean My Mac found 8 gigabytes of junk on my computer and tons of duplicate downloads. And it removed a bunch of leftover applications I never use. Who knew? And this happens locally on my Mac, so my data stays safe. Clean My Mac has a whole suite of other features, too, including their Moonlight anti-malware engine. With just a click, the anti-malware tool scans and removes viruses, ensuring your Mac remains threat-free. Not everything deserves eternal storage, so why pay for it? Get tidy today with Clean My Mac. Try it free for 7 days and use the promo code CLICK to save an additional 20% on your purchase at cleanmymac.com.
Did I put the clothes in the dryer? I hope they don't think I was serious.
I need to be
about
awake.
Snacks. I forgot my brain shut
Just
off.
sleep already.
When your racing thoughts keep you up at night, it's tough to let go and get the rest you need. Better sleep can help. You might have heard of white or brown noise, but there's a whole rainbow of color noises, and they can help you calm your mind, reduce stress, and sleep better, like the green noise you're listening to now. With the Better Sleep app, you can discover more color noises and over 200 soothing sounds, guided meditations, and bedtime stories. High-quality rest is vital to your mental well-being and physical health. Calm your restless mind, conquer your day, and sleep better at night. Download Better Sleep from the App Store or Google Play and start a 7-day trial today. Because when you sleep better, you feel better.
I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop. Brett Goldstein didn't remember where he was exactly when he started pawing through that cache of mysterious documents.
I was somewhere in another Marriott, because it's always a Marriott,
Right.
on some crappy Wi-Fi I'm like, I need to go to sleep. I need to go to sleep. I'm giving a talk in the morning. I need to go to sleep. And I'm like, I need to see what it is.
So he downloaded a large language model, or LLM, one called Llama, and it was driving him crazy because he appeared to be on the world's slowest hotel Wi-Fi.
I remember being particularly irritated because I was trying to download a llama and it was a gabillion gigs. And I'm just like, fuck.
Hour after hour, he fed chunks of the Mandarin text into the model. He found schematics, PowerPoints, briefs, and what emerged was a kind of playbook.
And it turns out it's talking about a sentiment system in China. So someone is trying to convince someone else to have a certain view.
In other words, internal documents about a propaganda operation. And it wasn't just your average run-of-the-mill Chinese campaign. This wasn't crude. This was intimate, surgical.
And I start seeing mentions of Hong Kong and Taiwan, and I'm scrolling through it, and I'm like, I think they're talking about personas here.
Personas, not just bots mindlessly retweeting slogans, but carefully constructed identities. Digital doubles. They looked real, they sounded real, they argue, they console, they slide into your feed and make you forget you ever doubted them. Brett recognized this immediately because, well, he's been studying personas and the way people respond to them for a while now.
A decade ago, I would create clusters of people. Let's say Midwest, white, whatever politics, this economic bracket, you'd have 10, 20 variables. That creates a cluster. That was considered good enough.
Back then, the recipe was simple. Pick a demographic, bake a persona, set it loose. White guys in Ohio, single moms in Michigan, retirees in Florida. But what the Chinese documents seemed to be describing, it was next level. Not generic stereotypes, not cookie-cutter avatars. These personas were handcrafted for you, one person at a time. And behind them, generative AI. Which meant they didn't just parrot talking points. They listened, they adapted, they whispered back in a comforting voice.
What we're seeing with artificial intelligence and generative AI is you can really create detailed personas tailored to the individual.
The documents laid it all out, how they were creating very believable social media personas with AI and then tailoring those accounts to interact not with a crowd, but with someone very specific. They did it, the paper said, by scraping LinkedIn profiles and Twitter feeds and Instagram posts, and then use that data to build a persona that could slip seamlessly into someone's world. And, according to the 399 pages of Chinese documents in the leak, this wasn't theoretical. It had already happened in Hong Kong and in Taiwan, and maybe even here.
When I saw photos of Americans in the doc, I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be an issue. This is a threat, and we need to get this out as fast as we can to help educate people and start thinking about defenses.
So Brett called in reinforcements.
As you'll see as the story unfolds, it required more than one Brett to make this happen.
My name is Brett Benson. I'm a professor of political science and political economy at Vanderbilt University.
Brett Benson is one of Brett Goldstein's colleagues at Vanderbilt. He's a political theorist, a specialist in the whys and wherefores of armed conflict. And crucially, he speaks Mandarin.
I speak Mandarin Chinese, lived in Taiwan, and have done research both there and in China. We were having a conversation about security in East Asia, and he said, I want to share something with you. And he said, I don't know what it is. It could be something cool. He said, but I just don't know.
At first, Benson wasn't sure.
Initially, I was very skeptical. I told him I didn't really know what to make of it. I needed to spend some more time with it.
But as he read through the documents, his heart started to sink.
I said, it appears that there's a company in China that is conducting AI information ops, and they're interested in cognitive warfare targeting the United States, Taiwan, and Hong Kong.
The company's name? GoLaxy. On paper, it looked like a private company, but it was clear that it had what the Chinese call guanxi, or connections.
In the documents, they claim to work with the intelligence services, both in the military as well as the sort of civilian intelligence services. They claim in the documents that they serve Chinese national security and national strategy interests and goals. And then I also noticed that they claim to have a connection with the Chinese government.
And the documents made clear that GoLaxy wasn't just another startup. It was founded by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, a state-run research center. And the documents seemed to indicate that the company had nearly 1,000 employees.
It wasn't just a company that was operating independently, at least.
And at its core, Benson realized, GoLaxy was building psychological models at scale on political targets. The documents claim the operation had been deployed in Hong Kong when there were protests about a Chinese-backed national security law. It was used in Taiwan during elections. And it also claimed to have compiled dossiers on 2,000 U.S. public figures, thousands of right-wing influencers, and at least 117 Republican members of Congress. When you saw the pictures of the Americans, what went through your head?
Yeah, that was a little bit disturbing. It was pretty disturbing. The documents claim to have developed profiles on thousands and thousands of targeted figures in the United States, as well as in Taiwan and Hong Kong. And then there's these screenshots that was sort of like proof of concept. Look at the information that we have on people that I know and see in the news.
And as far as Brett could tell, this wasn't bravado. GoLaxy was showing their work. Names, faces, profiles, all drawn from our digital lives and then fed back into machines. And the two Bretts then had the same thought. If GoLaxy could do that with lawmakers and influencers, what could they do with the rest of us? When we come back, the two Bretts look under the GoLaxy hood and tell us how they think it all works. Stay with us. Support for Click Here comes from ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. ExpressVPN is rated #1 by top tech reviews like CNET and The Verge. I take my internet security seriously, and I know that ExpressVPN does too. It's easy to use and works on all your devices. You just fire up the app and you're protected. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/clickhere. That's expressvpn.com/clickhere to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months free. expressvpn.com/clickhere. Support for Click Here comes from Claude AI. Claude is the AI for minds that don't stop at good enough. It's the collaborator that actually understands your entire workflow and thinks with you, not for you. Whether you're debugging code at midnight or strategizing for your next business move, Claude extends your thinking to tackle the problems that matter. Who needs a regular search when you can have a conversation with Claude about what you're looking for? And, unlike some of the other AI helpers I've used, Claude doesn't retain information from previous conversations, so it's private. Ready to tackle bigger problems? Sign up for Claude today and get 50% off Claude Pro when you use my link, claude.ai/clickhere. That's claude.ai/clickhere right now for 50% off your first 3 months of Claude Pro. And that includes access to all the features mentioned in today's episode. claude.ai/clickhere.
At Radiolab, we love nothing more than nerding out about science, neuroscience, chemistry.
But we do also like to get into other kinds of stories. Stories about policing or
Politics,
country music,
hockey,
sex, of bugs.
Regardless of whether we're looking at science or not science, we bring a rigorous curiosity to get you the answers.
And hopefully make you see the world anew.
Radiolab, adventures on the edge of what we think we know.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
As the two Bretts pored over the documents, the picture got more worrisome. This wasn't just about a handful of politicians or influencers. It was about a method, a playbook on how one might weaponize AI against whole societies. And step one was deceptively simple. Harvest everything.
GoLaxy scrapes millions of data points from places like Facebook, X, Weibo, WeChat, Reddit, other online forums, and then it holds data on tens of thousands of individuals and organizations.
So they're just aggregating data, millions of pieces of us, until they have an occasion to put them to use.
And then the next step is to start creating behavioral and political, like these psychological profiles of individuals and organizations and networks. And then they build these profiles based on user interactions in open source platforms.
Take, for example, a user who loves the music of Dave Brubeck and routinely chats online with other fans. GoLaxy could spin up a fake Brubeck devotee and have them meet online.
These are fake but highly realistic, AI-generated bots. It's a made-up online profile, basically, that looks like a real person, interacts like a real person, much more subtle than the Russian operations that we saw in the 2016 election. They're very, very tailored to appeal to a certain individual. The personas show up in regular online spaces, and they engage in friendly and relatable exchanges, and then they start to seed content, discussions, amplifying certain viewpoints, altering certain viewpoints, hijacking trending topics, jumping into hot conversations that take place to subtly slant them in different directions.
And unlike Russia's troll farms, GoLaxy didn't need to have thousands of people tapping away at keyboards. It had something faster, cheaper, and endlessly adaptable. China's version of ChatGPT, something called DeepSeek.
The thing that really blew me away is the adaptability of the personas. And that's the part that's kind of spooky to me. They're really subtle, realistic, human-like in their ability to engage and then to seed content and to shape narratives.
Brett compares the operation to TikTok on steroids.
TikTok tracks what people watch, right? What they like, what they share, what they rewatch, to learn the interests of the users. And then it uses the data that it gathers based on human interaction to produce more content for the users. So over time, its algorithm fine-tunes to the individual's feed so that it's like really, really personalized and it keeps users watching longer. The difference is that TikTok is targeting users with lifestyle and entertainment content, as well as like commercial ads. What GoLaxy is doing, it's using politically aligned AI ops to target users with like politically and strategically framed content.
And the TikTok algorithm steers users toward real human creators, while GoLaxy's algorithm steers users to their AI creations, all at a scale humans could never replicate on their own.
This is all AI driven, and so the data harvesting and the content creation, the scale and speed is like can far eclipse anything that TikTok can do by several orders of magnitude.
China has been vacuuming up all kinds of information for years. They broke into the Office of Personnel Management and Anthem Help back in 2015. 3 years later, they cracked into Starwood hotels. And we've always wondered what the Chinese would do with all that data. And the way it was always explained to me and people on the intel side was, they're saving it for a rainy day. They know someday they'll be able to use it. Does this indicate to you that the rainy day has happened?
Yeah, that was the big revelation to me because, like you, I've had the same reaction to this massive collection of data, face recognition all over China, censorship, data collection on its own citizens. And but then the big question in my mind has always been, okay, what's it for? Is it just to try to increase security domestically, maybe abroad? This was the kind of aha moment for me when I realized that the data and the data mining efforts paired with AI has the capacity to engage in sort of a front of cognitive warfare that I didn't really think about before. I think this is the new frontier in national security because there are these different domains of coercion, everything from military operations to economic coercion, cyber, and now we have this information ops. Propaganda has always been part of information ops, but this is completely different because of the scale and speed and the reach.
Which is why the two Bretts have been so open about what they found. In September, they put the documents, unredacted, online for other academics to see. Here again is Brett Goldstein.
Academically, there's an inclination to sit on some of these things for a couple of years and really, just research the heck out of it. But my philosophy from day one after seeing that is we need to get this out the door as soon as possible.
Because AI wasn't just making the work of personas easy, it was making it fast. Really fast.
Back in the day, we'd spend a month creating a relational data structure. Now, what do I just hit upload or ingest? And it's a game changer.
You don't have to spend months cleaning the data or reformatting it. Now, with AI, you can just dump in oceans of data and the model does the rest.
AI is evolving at a speed we've never seen before. And I've never seen before. And there's just so much. And the frontier models are just crushing it.
And they are moving so fast that defenses to stop them don't even exist yet.
Like, we can find your typical bots and all the garbage that's out there. Fine. This is a new animal. And I'm not sure it's detectable.
AI is pretty good at spotting a bot targeting thousands. But a persona created just for you? Maybe not.
So how do we solve this? If we can't solve this and we don't know human versus machine, we're in a lot of trouble.
And if platforms can't distinguish real accounts from fake ones, what happens to the truth itself?
What does this do to our perception of truth and to news and things like that? If I were to talk to Congress, I would start talking about the bigger implications for national security.
Not just voters, not just public opinion, but something even bigger than that.
One of the things that Brett and I are now starting to think about is how does this affect military operations? How do these types of AI-generated information operations affect deterrence? One of the things that we all hope that AI would do is improve decision-making between adversaries and thereby increase deterrence and make the world more peaceful. Because after all, it just sharpens decision-making, makes it faster. But in a world where information can be manipulated like this, both at the public level in democracies among voters, as well as, targeted fake content toward decision makers, soldiers, people in the military, and then importantly, manipulating the information itself that LLM models are trained on, it may be the case that these information operations undo some of the benefits of AI.
This summer, as the two Bretts were preparing an opinion piece for the New York Times, this crazy thing happened. The paper contacted GoLaxy for comment, and the company suddenly started deleting things on their website.
Pages were disappearing. We were watching in almost real time, and just thing after thing was being deleted off their site. Like, there was a whole section on government relationships, and that just disappeared. And the pages would now be dead-ended. The links would just all be dead.
GoLaxy denied everything, but the disappearing pages from the website seemed to suggest otherwise. Nowadays, Brett Goldstein is busy trying to learn how to detect these customized personas.
I just want to understand what's an AI versus a human. And I think that is a fundamental thing we need to do. So how do we solve this? Because the alternative to this is if we can't solve this and we don't know human versus machine, we're in a lot of trouble.
And Brett Benson is trying to sound the alarm. What's the one thing you wish that more people understood about this story?
That it's here.
When you say it's here, what is the it?
AI-generated propaganda or AI-generated information manipulation is here. When I use ChatGPT, I increasingly trust it. I think a lot of people increasingly trust it. But there are other forums where AI is being used to manipulate information, to sow doubt, to generate disinformation and disorientation. And that, I think, I wish more people understood that is here. That's not a science fiction future. That is here.
And maybe that's the lesson. Every new technology that promised to connect us has also been used to divide us. The printing press, the telegraph, the radio, and now generative AI, a far more sophisticated tool. And each time, we've learned to adapt. So the question is whether this time we can adapt fast enough. From Recorded Future News, this has been Click Here's Mic Drop. It was written and produced by Megan Dietrich, Sean Powers, Erica Guida, Zach Hirsch, Lucas Riley, and me, Dina Temple-Rest. It was edited by Karen Duffin. We'll be back on Tuesday with an all-new episode of Click Here. Have a great weekend.
If you're looking for a daily guide to cybersecurity news and policy, sign up for the Cyber Daily from Recorded Future News. It serves up the day's most interesting and important cyber stories from our sister publication, The Record, and then aggregates all of the big cyber stories you might have missed from news outlets around the world. Just go to therecord.media and click on Cyber Daily to get all you need to know about the world of cybersecurity right in your inbox.